Hi, I'm Sophia Louisa Lee. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of So Zoom In. I love bringing you people who are in the creative flow, and that means a lot of different things. So today I'll be bringing you Ellie Rollins. She is musician and founder of Cabin Creek Crystals. She has several shops, and we're going to be talking about that. So please hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate your support, and she is coming in right now. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I know we just
Yeah.
barely met, and I looked you up, and I'm like, wow, go girl. It's like, yes.
Thank
I saw your show the other night in Santa Monica, and first of all, you have a beautiful crystal shop, and
you.
just the way that you're so supportive of musicians. And then I found out you're a singer yourself. I'm like, okay, I have to talk to this woman. So what came first? Did the singing come first or the store come first?
I've always been a singer, and that was the thing that I thought I was going to do from the time I was really young. And I studied classical voice in San Francisco. I grew up in the Bay Area.
Uh-huh.
And life happened. I got married. I have 3 children, and then I never stopped singing, but I started to come to the conclusion about around my late 30s that most likely that I wasn't going to have singing be my career, and that what I was really good at was I had a really good business mind. I'm very entrepreneurially minded, and I love supporting other people. And so then I started, I guess when I was 38, I started my entrepreneurial journey, and I actually own 11 retail stores. And this is my latest one. And when I discovered the space, it just seemed like, wow, my career has kind of come full circle now that I can host these artist salon, music venue type of events.
Well, that's so exciting. So, okay, you have 3 crystal shops in addition to several other different types of stores.
So I have 4 crystal stores: Santa Monica, Reno, South Lake Tahoe, and Kona, Hawaii. And then I also own and operate this company called Transfer Station Thrift Store on the Big Island of Hawaii. It's a landfill diversion program where I'm located where the transfer station, where 7 transfer stations are, where people in Hawaii would normally bring their garbage, but if they have reusable items, they donate them to one of my reuse centers, and then we resell it back into the community. I divert about 1.1 million pounds of items from the landfill every year in Hawaii.
That's wonderful. That's so inspiring.
My goal is to one day make that island a completely zero waste community, and then to have that be a model on how other communities can become zero waste. So that's one of my altruistic life goals.
That's so wonderful. And you're saving the ocean by doing that. And I am so impressed by you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and well, I guess when I first learned of you, I love that you were bringing independent artists together. Artists who just discovered music, or who had been doing it their entire lives, but you don't care what level. This is all. It seemed to me anyway, that was the passion that they had for it and their ability to just really go for it and learn as much as they can. And you really held space for that. And I love that so much. And I found that so inspiring. And now to learn that you do this whole environmental thing too, while still giving back. I am awesome. I give you so many accolades. So how has that been like having 3 children? Do they help you with that, or is that something?
No, they have their own lives. They're all adults. I have a 25-year-old son who works as a manager for a security company in Hilo, Hawaii. And then I have a 20-year-old son who's a junior at the University of Hawaii, Manoa on Oahu. And then my daughter is 18 and she's a freshman at UC Davis.
Wow. So You have a lot going on.
Yeah. Most of the time people are pretty overwhelmed when they start talking to me and asking about my life.
I like, hey, let's go. Um,
Awesome.
this is
I'm sorry, I'm
great.
having little allergies, so I'm not crying. I just have like a little watery eye. I took allergy medication, but I was just recently on the Big Island, and the Kilauea is like putting a lot of volcanic ash into the air, and so my eyes are irritated. But
So are you in Hawaii now? Are you?
no, I'm in Santa Monica right now. I have an apartment actually above my store here, and so that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. And so do you go to all the stores on a regular basis, or?
I used to visit Reno and Lake Tahoe a lot, but I have a really great management team up there, so I haven't been going there as often, and I mainly split my time between Hawaii and Santa Monica.
And so when do you squeeze into your own performances?
I actually like get to perform a lot. I mean, it's pretty easy when your back patio is like your performance space. And we have a house band, Mocha Chai, that they perform here every second and fourth Wednesday. And so I sit in with them like almost every time they're here. So that happens twice a month. And then Chris Murphy, who's our artistic director, he and I are writing an album together. And so almost every time that he performs, I perform with him. And then on March 1st will be my very first like own show here. And then later on this month, we hope to start recording the first single off the album.
Oh, that's so okay. So how would you describe your music?
I would say people have told me that my music sounds like world music. And mixed in there probably is this sound of blues and country, and maybe like with a little bit of pop, kind of rounding out the edges. It's very hard for me because I'm like, it's always been hard for me to describe what, kind of music I write and sing. So,
Well,
but I'm trying.
it comes from your soul, right? You just,
Yeah, I'm like taking this thing that just like somehow emotes out of you, and then to try to describe that to people is challenging. I just started asking other people like, well, what do you think? And then I'm like, this is what people tell me.
oh, I like that. Well, one thing I love about music is it's so healing in so many ways, and no matter what kind of music it is, it affects people, whether it's classical music or pop or rock or even punk rock music. There's always that vibration, the energy frequency that affects people, and I loved it. I love how it just kind of like really brings people together, and that just in and of itself is so very healing. So you deal with crystals. How were you attracted to crystals, and how do you use it with your music?
It's kind of funny how I got into like the whole crystal world. I was going through like a pretty bad breakup, and the person was really didn't want the relationship to be over, and they were mildly stalking me. And a friend of mine said, and I've always been a spiritual person. I was just like born that way. I have the ability, which I don't normally share with people, but I'm starting to get braver about it, that people's guides and angels like speak through me. And so I've always felt like I could see like beyond the veil. And I'm very, I always can like feel how everybody around me feels. I like to actually say it because a lot of people like say this new word, like I'm an empath, and I like want to describe like, well, if you really are an empath, like everybody who's in your presence, you really can feel what they're feeling. My boyfriend really likes that because I always anticipate like, oh, are you cold? Are you warm? Or, and he's like, it's so nice to like, someone can always tell how I'm feeling. Anyway, so I've always been a spiritual person, but I wasn't really into crystals until this guy was stalking me. And my friend said, you should start wearing black tourmaline because it's an energetic protector. And the reason your ex is stalking you is because he was really feeling like your energy was sourcing him. And a lot of people unconsciously do that. They don't really realize that they're getting their needs and that energy from a person because they don't have the awareness that we all have a connection to like divine source energy. And so she's like, black tourmaline, it stops people from being able to take any of your energy. It's like a complete energetic like barrier. And I didn't really like believe her, which is so funny. Like I talk to angels, but I'm like, it's a rock. I like know everything has energy and there's a frequency, but I don't know why. I just never like got into it. But I was pretty like desperate that something would work because this behavior was really not working for me. And so I went out and I bought this black tourmaline pendant, and immediately the behavior stopped. And I was like, wow, that's just amazing. And I thought, well, I started to really think about it. I'm like, well, everything has energy. And I started studying about crystals and, talking to people about crystals. And I'm like, if this really happened where black tourmaline like protected my energy, and I'm a very sensitive person, imagine like what other crystals can do. So I just kind of like dove into this world. And then I opened my second retail store. I started out as, a thrift store person. And then I opened a new and used clothing store, and I started carrying crystals and sage and bath salts. Just like basically it just morphed into this metaphysical supply store. And then it became really, really popular. And so then I opened my first like crystal store, and then my second, and then my third, and then my fourth. So that's just, that's how it happened. Thank goodness someone stalked me. I needed crystals in my life.
Well, good. Well, I love that people are starting to reach out more for it, that whole thing, to see that there is more than what meets the eye. And I think with music, that automatically takes people there, and I don't think they really realize it. And so to see that you kind of do both, I think it's magical. I think
I just think, everything has a frequency, and music has its frequency. Our voice has a frequency. We are, it's great now that it's scientifically proven that we're like energetic beings and that everything is made out of energy. And I feel that crystals are like holding this energetic memory. I don't think that, it gives you anything that you don't have. I compare it to like getting a hug from an energetic frequency that reminds you of what exists within yourself as well. So just as like an amplifier and a reminder that it's not like this stone is going to give you some power. It's just going to remind you of something that you hold within yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. So where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years?
That's funny. I was just having brunch with some friends and talking to them about that. In the next 5 years, I have a 2-year plan. I don't really have a 5-year plan. I just think that the world and myself is just going to evolve like so much, and that the planet is moving faster. So for me to like project into 5 years in the future, I don't really have that ability. I have a practice where I ask myself what is seeking to emerge through me at this time and this place, and how can I be of service where I am and who I am at this time, because I'm ever evolving. And so my 2-year plan is to, we just launched an online store where you can pre-order. I created a line of candles and crystal infused essential oils for your body, and then crystal infused room sprays. And so I'm just really excited to expand in a way where we're bringing these daily rituals and reminders of that every moment is sacred into people's homes. And so I really want to grow that. I have a business coach, and we've been talking a lot about how it's time for me to like come out of like the spiritual closet, because people that talk to me usually find a lot of benefit from whatever wisdom I've gained along the way. And so I have a lot of people in my life that are asking me to like do coaching and public speaking engagements. And a lot of people I get asked to get interviewed like all the time. So it's interesting that it's just like, that's what Seeking to Emerge through me is doing speaking engagements and coaching and singing. Because now my companies are starting to evolve into a place where they don't need my constant attention. They just need my presence. And it's exciting to be moving into a place of being like this founder role and less of this like owner operator role. So I'm just really excited to be able to share more of my gifts in a way that is fun and has a sense of ease about it. So, maybe I'll write a book. I look forward to the next couple of years just being really, really fun. And I also have this idea of creating Cabin Creek retreats. So that's a possibility.
And what would that look like?
Well, I was thinking it would be really great if we could have like healing practitioners and yoga classes and music and like really good food, just like an all-inclusive kind of vacation where you don't have to like go anywhere, but it's all like very intentional and a high vibration the whole time.
That's so needed right now.
I'm like, it's just like, basically I do what I want in my life. And then I think like, oh, other people might like this as well. Let's try it out.
Right. And you do it. So many people talk about it, and they keep it up here, but you actually put it out there. You make it happen. And that's what's so inspiring.
I think it's because I don't try to make it happen. I think I took this class by Michael Beckwith about, I think it was like 12 years ago. It's a life visioning class. And he wrote a book. It's called The Life Visioning Process. And I read the book. And he says that there's four levels of consciousness. And the first level is a victim consciousness, where we feel like it's happening to us. And a lot of people live there, and that's just where they are. Like, no judgment. That's just where they are. And so that's what they're getting from their life, is like things are just always bombarding them and they feel like everything is happening to them. And then people evolve into the second stage of consciousness, and it's called manifestor consciousness. And you're happening to life. You're making things happen. And it's exhausting, but it's nicer than always feeling like things are happening to you. And I definitely lived there in my 20s. I'm too tired to do that anymore. And then the third level of consciousness is channel consciousness, where you allow things to emerge through you and you live in co-creation with, spirit, wisdom, love, whatever you want to call it. And so that's what I seek. I'm not always there, but that is, I check in with myself. I ask for, the next indicated steps. I meditate. And then if I get guidance, I just follow it. And it seems like if you follow your guidance more, you get more guidance, because it's like your inner self goes, oh, she's going to listen. And so I'm going to talk more. But if you're never listening, your inner light or guidance is just like, well, what's the point? I mean, none of us keep on talking to people that don't listen to us. And then the fourth level of consciousness is that I am it. So it's happening to me. I'm happening to it. It's happening through me. And then I am it, which I think we have to die to get there, or be like, an elevated being like Buddha or something. So I don't even like try to be there. I'm just like, I meditated once for 48 hours with a guru, and maybe I had moments where I felt like I was a part of all consciousness, but I don't really think that that's part of the human experience most of the time. So yeah, I don't make things happen. I just like allow them to emerge through me. And I love co-creating and having fun with people.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, I know the store I went to in Santa Monica, it had such a wonderful vibe to it. It was a beautiful store. The crystals were gorgeous. The back patio was so cozy. It felt so safe, and it felt like what a wonderful opportunity to see people come together and have a good time listening to original music. And so
Yeah.
that was just so beautiful. And you did that. You made that happen.
It's weird. I just
Thank
feel like I allowed it to happen. When
Yes.
people like go, look what you did, I'm like, huh. But it's really nice. And I feel like it's been really great to make it available to people to join together in community. And like the only requirements I have are that the artists have, like, they are working their craft and that they're doing something positive and that the audience responds to them. Like, I have had artists come where I'm just like, they're just not quite there yet. And what I'm very excited to have Chris on as our artistic director, because the quality of art that is being experienced in our little patio is, I think, like starting to become really world class. And it doesn't matter how long or how short of a time you've been an artist. What matters is that you are talented and that is like emerging through you, and that you're touching people and that they're being moved. Like, people sometimes ask me, like, what kind of music do you like? And I'm like, I like music that's going to take me on a journey that is, I'm going to end in a different place than I was when I got there. And that's what I want for people when they come to my stores. It's like, I want you to have been taken on a journey that when you leave, that you're in a higher vibration than you were when you came in.
I love that. Well, and what I also experienced was it all felt so real. There was like no pretense. There was no, no shiny, it was all just very authentic. And, I
Yeah.
appreciate that very much.
Oh, I'm so
And
glad.
I would love to see more people who are singers or musicians just really have that experience and not feel like they have to have, the certain look or have the certain this or that, but actually just make it about the music.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And you offered that space, and I really appreciated that. So again,
Well,
thank you.
we have to support what we want to see in the world. I want to experience real, authentic, artistic expression. And so if I'm not willing to support that in every way that I have, then I will be responsible in my life to not see it in the world.
Right. So do you think you'll open up another crystal shop? You have 4, I can go for 5.
I probably will. It seems like I just can't help myself. I'm looking at the possibility of opening a 5th in Hawaii. We're really, really well received there. And at that point, I'm going to probably slow down a little bit in the opening, like more retail stores, and focus on music, online, and retreats. And I'm also like, something that has been seeking to emerge through me is the possibility of bringing on a partner. I am realizing that, like, I'm a little tired, and being a solo entrepreneur, I think I don't want to do that anymore. I think that it would be really great if somebody wanted to, because it's gone into so many different directions. Like, we have this musical direction, and then we have this online store direction, and then I have my own line of products, and then we have the retail. I just think that it would be great to have another person that is just as passionate about Cabin Creek as I am, and that they could maybe like help online expand. That I've realized that I can't do everything really, really well. And so I've reached that point where I'm like at my threshold of growth. So we'll see.
Well, you never know. The universe will provide that person or persons.
I'm just like, and it's like it's interesting. It's not like a mental thought. It's just like, at a certain point as an entrepreneur, you become a steward to the company. And so I feel like I'm in service to this company, and what it needs, it doesn't even really feel like it belongs to me. It's like its own thing. And what it needs is more creativity and like more players at the top. And because there are other things that I want to do that don't have anything to do with Cabin Creek, Like travel with my boyfriend.
Does he ever go with you when you come to California or
Oh
Nevada?
yes. So he's a really, really talented therapist, and he's moving into becoming a coach. He specifically does men's work. And so that's another like part of me wanting to create retreats and stuff, is so that I can spend more time with the man that I'm in love with, and we can co-create together. So he loves music. I, can't really fall in love with someone that isn't as excited about music as I am. And so he comes here 2 weekends a month. He lives in Hawaii, and he specifically like designs his time in Santa Monica around our, he looks at the calendar and what live music shows he wants to see.
Oh, wow. That's so exciting. That's great that you have that. And a
It's
men's retreat would be great. I know a lot of men would love to do that, especially since the whole divine masculinity is shifting so much now.
Yes. Yeah. And he is like such an amazing like force and part of that. And it's just so nice to have a partner that not only like inhabits this amazing divine masculine energy, but then he teaches other men how to like really live in their divine masculinity, and how it's just like, it's really exciting to see that unfold on our planet, but then also see someone that's committed their life to helping, men raise their vibration and live in their like true divine masculinity. I'm just like, I feel like the luckiest girl in the whole entire world. So I'm like, let me help you. Let me bring you to the world.
Well, what's so great about that is men embrace their divine masculinity. It actually raises the divine femininity.
Yes.
That balance. And so many people don't get that, so it's not all about the divine feminine. It's like, no, we need that. We need you to be in your 100% divinity. So we can be in our divinity, so we can balance each other out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm experiencing that for the very first time in my life. And I feel like it's a biohack as well. Be in a relationship with somebody who is like completely in their healthy masculinity, is like making my cortisol levels like drop. It makes me feel more youthful. I, be feeling safe being like out of my masculine energy. And yes, we all have masculine and feminine energy, but I find that like I've had to rely on mine so much, and it's not my nature. Like I'm naturally a really feminine person. So being able to like inhabit what is my nature is making me feel like so much younger. I was starting to feel like the beginnings of perimenopause, and I could feel like these big hormonal spikes to like that my body was having to go through to like kick me into having my cycle. And after dating Tom, it's not happening anymore. It's like, because I am experiencing a level of happiness, safety, and security, my body is like, oh, you don't have to get out of your moon cycle and your feminine cycle yet. Like this is something, it's the craziest thing. It just literally started happening in the last couple months, where I get my cycle like so easy, and I think a big motivating factor for people be like, you can biohack your body if you surround yourself with people that support your femininity. And I feel just like so much younger. I feel like the youngest I have since I was 20, and I'm 46 years old. And it's because I feel safe and secure and relaxed. It's like, oh, if you want to know what the fountain of youth is, it's called safety, security, relaxation.
And love does that too. So
yes, love.
When you're in love.
Yeah, being in love is pretty nice. But I've definitely been in love before when it didn't really feel like safe, like having someone like ask you what your needs are, and then having you feel safe because then they actually do the things to fulfill those needs because they have a desire to, like, be in a relationship where all the communication is just like really clean and open and honest, and there's a secure attachment, is a total life game changer.
It's so exciting. It's so exciting that you're experiencing that, because then you can share that too. You can share your
Yeah.
story and inspire people, and let them know that exists.
I know, because I didn't know it existed. Like, I'm just like completely blown away. I had basically resigned to the fact that I was going to most likely be single for the rest of my life, and that my life was going to be, which are good things, that my life was going to be about my friendships and my career and my children. And I was a, very happy, self-contained, sustained person. But I can tell you that this option, I'm having a lot more fun.
Oh, good. That's so good. Well, it's like, it's nice that you're experiencing this in the fullness of it all. And I think that it just brings so much more to who you are and what you're doing, and really expands so much more. So what advice would you give to a young person just starting his or her own business?
I like that question. I would say, a couple things. Journaling is really powerful. I would say really being clear about, I can't emphasize it enough, and I'll probably say it over and over again for the rest of my life, asking yourself what is seeking to emerge through you at this time and this place. I think as a culture, we get really caught up in what we thought we were going to be when we were little. And some people on the planet, what they thought they were going to be when they were a young person is what they end up being. But for most of us, I believe that we have childhood dreams because they're appropriate when we're a child. And wanting to be a famous pop star was a fantastic dream for me to have, because it motivated me into becoming the person that I am today. But once I became that person, that was not the appropriate trajectory for my life, because all the skills that I gained from wanting to be a pop star turned me into a really successful entrepreneur, because I had this belief that I could do anything. Like, I needed this crazy, like, I'm going to be the next Celine Dion, to cultivate this belief that I can do anything. Well, the belief that I can do anything makes me want to do things that are way bigger to me than being a big pop star. I want to create zero waste communities. I want to create intentional retreats. I want to create a concert series. Like, these things are so much more exciting to me, but it's because I wanted to be a pop star that I became the person that believes that I can create anything. And so that's why I think it's so important that if you're on this journey where you want to become an entrepreneur, that you get really clear about who you are now, and to be willing to ask yourself that question. Like me, it's every 2 years. Like, I'll create something for 2 years, and then I'll recheck in with myself about, okay, universe, spirit, inner guidance, I listened, I did the thing. Is this still what's seeking to emerge through me? Because I did all this growth. So that's why journaling and asking over and over again, what is seeking to emerge through you, for me, is like number one. If you're not willing to sit with yourself and write down what is seeking to emerge through you and get really clear about that, I don't advise becoming an entrepreneur, because you probably just need to go work for somebody else, and that's great. Like, I have 40 employees, and I am so grateful that people want to like carry out someone else's vision. So if you don't have something that is like, this has to happen and it has to evolve through you, don't do it. Because there's a lot of like information out there that says, it's easy. That's a bullshit lie.
Yeah.
It's like, it's possible. That's the truth. My very first store, I started with my rent money, and I illegally lived in my store. not everyone, that isn't everyone's journey. But when you're going to be self-employed, it has to be that you believe in yourself so much that you're willing to bank everything you have on yourself, because that's what you're doing. And so a lot of times that's why you'll hear people that are really, really successful, like, not that I'm a humongous fan, but Elon Musk lived in his office, Tyler Perry lived in his car. Jewel lived in her car. These great success stories are people that were willing to do whatever it took. And you're not always going to have to do whatever it takes, but you probably will have to start there.
Yeah. You have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Is telling the universe that you really want it.
Yeah.
Willing to do it. So, and I think it goes for, you don't have to be really young. You don't have to be like an 18-year-old to do this. You could be any age,
Yes.
to dive into it. And I think a lot of people feel, well, oh, I'm old now, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what age you're at, because you're still thinking of new things to do. And
I like when people hear me talk about, that in 2 years, I think I'm going to be semi-retired, they look at me like I have an alien head because I'm always doing something new. And I guess I need to rephrase it. Like, I think I'm going to retire from one part of my life and start a new chapter in 2 years. And I'll be 48. And that's just what I think is like asking, what my spirit is asking of me, is that now that I went from starting my first store with my rent money and living in it, and then starting a second store, and then getting a government contract and having 7 reuse centers, and then starting another company called Cabin Creek Crystals, and then growing it into 4 stores, and then starting a concert series. Now it's like, okay, you climbed this mountain and it's time to teach other people how to do it. And that's like what this next 2-year transition is about. And I'm so excited to do that, to tell people, all I had was $1,500 and the power to ask somebody to take a chance on me and let me lease a space from them for 3 months for free, and then start paying the rent. That's all I had. And that's all it took. And then that was 8 years ago. And now I own 2 companies that did over $2 million in sales, and it was $1,500. So it's like, no matter where you are in your life, it's a good starting point. The other thing that I like to tell people is when you're starting a business, what are you going to solve? A lot of people want to do things because it makes them happy, and which is great. But if you want to be a real business person that is going to monetize what it is that you do, you have to offer something that is going to solve a problem. So when I ask myself what is seeking to merge through me, I also ask, what problem can I solve? What am I uniquely qualified to solve? And for me, the very first thing was, I had the ability to give people an opulent experience for whatever budget they were in. So I created a really clean, curated thrift store. And then it evolved into everything that it is today. But it's still that same thing that I wanted to solve, that I knew that I was uniquely qualified to do, was that I give people this opulent experience for whatever their budget is. Someone can come into my store and make a crystal necklace for $3. They can also now buy $1,000 crystals, but anybody's budget fits into what I have to offer.
And you're being of service.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it feels really good when it's natural. It's human nature to be of service. And so, and if you solve a problem, then you will find a place in the marketplace. But if you're not solving a problem, then most likely your idea cannot be monetized.
Right. I think that's so wonderful. I really do see you reaching out to so many people and affecting so many people's lives. I think that's so incredible. And I see you doing it online too, as well as in person. So you have such a great presence online, and you're such an articulate speaker already in just this very impromptu interview. So thank you so much, Ellie.
I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I really do better when people interview me than just talking to a camera. So thank you so much.
Well, it's like with what you're doing, it's all give and take. It's this internal cycle where we have to receive, just like what your space is. You're open, you're offering a space for people to fill. And I think that's how life is. We offer and we receive, just that.
Yeah.
And music is so integral in everything, no matter what you do. Even in a store, they're always playing music.
Yeah.
I heard for the psychology of it, if someone's comfortable in music, they buy more. So.
Yes. And we have a Spotify playlist that we created that's, called Cabin Creek Santa Monica. And everybody in the store, everyone that works for me is, allowed to add to that Spotify channel. And then that's what we listen to in the store. I mean, it's a great experiment, but it's definitely me trying to teach people how to choose music that is inviting to customers, not just to their like personal preference. Like, be intentional about what music you're choosing and what you're trying to accomplish. And my employee, Kelsey, she's like the best at it, because she's like, I'm throwing a party for everyone that comes into the store. So I really appreciate it.
I love that. And life should be a party, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I think retail stores are, after everything that we've been through as a collective, collective humanity with the pandemic and everything, and how it affected our economy and retail and restaurants, I think one of the beautiful things that's emerging out of that is that retailers are creating this like immersive experience. Like we serve complimentary tea. There's so much about the experience that we're providing for our customers that has nothing to do with them purchasing a product, which I think is fantastic, that we're giving an experience and that they get to have this like really great feeling. Like people come and just hang out on our patio during the day and drink tea, and some of them don't buy anything. And you know what? That's totally fine, because we're building a community that, in my mind, creates customers for life. And if today you're coming to enjoy our space, and also like if someone is there enjoying the space, that next person might feel their energy and they want to buy something. Like we are a part of this like collective experience.
I love that. That's so very cool. You're so awesome. I'm so glad I had a chance to meet you, and I'm so glad you said yes to this. So
oh yeah, of course, anytime.
And I look forward to, if anything, to seeing you again very soon.
Yes.
And you are so inspiring, Ellie.
Thanks. Have a great day.